Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Mike Zakarian.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I guess that welcome back is more to me than it is to you because you guys have probably been here, but we took a few days off. We waited till the NBA Finals started, and then we said, how about a vacation? It's good to be back, though. We are not as well rested as we would like to be. It was a pretty chaotic few days, but it's good to be back. We went, and there was a lot of slander. I said we were going to Virginia Beach. Everyone's like, "What are you going to Virginia Beach? Virginia Beach is the worst, dude. Nobody goes to Virginia." Listen, we weren't on the boardwalk, all right? It was beautiful. We had a house. It was right on the beach. I got some golf in, all right? I got some beach time in. We had some day drinks. We had some good family time. It was great. But then in sadder news, Kelsey's Grams passed away right before we left. So then we cut that trip short, went back to Massachusetts for some services. So we flew to Virginia, then back to New York, picked up the dog, drove to Massachusetts, was there for like 29 hours, came right back. Chaos. But we're back now. We're back. And the last thing I did on my technical vacation was I watched White Man Can't Jump, the new one with Harlow. And I got to tell you, Harlow brought it. It was a fun movie. It was a bad, I should say bad movie. It was a fun movie. I had a good time. But enough about that. Enough about my my escapades. Who do we got in the chat this morning? I see Snoopaloop. It's a National Yo-Yo Day. It's good. We got to talk about yo-yos. We got the common mans here, Cameron Quinlan, JJL with an important question, because just so you know, 1 month from today, Team Hold heads to Vegas, okay? 1 month from today. We'll talk more about it later. But UFC or Garth Brooks? It's tough. Airplane mode's here. Sawyer in the chat. Are you kidding me? We got a Sawyer sighting on a Tuesday morning. The SEC sues Coinbase. Okay. I didn't know that. I knew Binance was in trouble. We got Coinbase too. We the people up in here. We got Stan Loves is here. T-Man, good to see you. Veronica in the chat. Boston base, let's go. Baston, good afternoon, sir. We got Bowdivines here. Rowdy Rod. Who else? Stubbs, good morning. Shig. Ricky Ricardo, good to see you. DJ Local. Who else? We got good common man. I already said your name. Andres here. Give the drop. You're right. We do need a hero drop. I know. I knew you were looking for it, right? Snuck a little cameo in there, right? Little cameo for our man. I need a hero who's also returning for game 3. We love it. Zavala Bala in here too. Wet Like a Book also here, up early this morning. New White Man Can't Jump was fine. Also watched this weekend. Andre wanted this Sawyer drop. My bad. Yeah, exactly. It was fun. That's what I would say. It was fun. I didn't go in there being like, you know what? They're going to win an Oscar. Like the writing was a little corny. I think they were trying to make it new while also being like, hey, this is a early 90s movie. But anyways, enough about that. Enough about White Man Can't Jump. We got a fun one this morning. I listened to just hours and hours of podcasts yesterday because we were on the road again. We were on the road for a little bit. And I was trying to think about what we were going to do today. I don't think we're going to dive too much into the first 2 games because I feel like like we'll talk about it a little bit. We'll sprinkle it in a little bit, but I think every podcast you've ever listened to, even like pop culture podcasts, we're talking about the finals. So I don't think I'm going to do too much of a deep dive since the time has passed. We're looking forward. We're looking forward to Game 3, which is tomorrow night. But the rest of this week, this is what we got going on. We get the morning shows here. Friday, we might be off, but I'll stay tuned. Stay tuned for that information. We might be off on Friday because I'm traveling again to a wedding this weekend, but I'm not sure what time we're leaving yet. So we'll stay tuned for Friday. But the bit will be here at least Wednesday and Thursday. Toying around with some reaction stuff for tomorrow night. We'll see. But that's it. We're back. We're back in action, and it's good to be back. It is good to be back. All right. Chat saying Denver still in 5, Nuggets in 5, Heat in 64, Nintendo 64. Maybe that's what you mean. All right, let's go. Real quick, we got to like the stream. We have to subscribe. We got to put hashtag culture into the chat. Hashtag culture because Heat culture tied it up, boys and girls. Heat culture tied it up. I managed to watch the games this weekend. I didn't think I was going to be able to. My hair is a disaster today. I didn't think I wasn't sure what my watching scheduling was going to be. I wasn't sure what it was going to look like, but I managed to watch game 1 with the family. And then I caught the second half of game 2. I don't know. I mean, listen, I almost nailed it, right? I did think Miami was going to steal one of these games. I thought it was going to be game 1, and instead it was game 2. And in just true Heat fashion, they were like, hey, everybody forgot. Sometimes we go 50% from 3. And when that happens, it's really hard to beat basketball teams. I feel like Celtics and Celtics fans were at home just sitting back going, like, see, I told you they can shoot 50% from 3. All right. It wasn't our fault. I love the series though. I'm really excited about it. I think, I just think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun. I still think Denver is the better team. I'm really excited to see Michael Porter Jr. Minutes in game 3 because boy, oh boy, did it feel like he might never play basketball again. Michael Malone gave him some shade. I mean, it was super clear. He was just brutal. He was brutal on both ends. Like, at least knock down some shots so you can make up for the fact that you were getting cooked on defense. But yeah, I'm excited for game 3. I think, man, the fact that Jimmy just hasn't been great and Miami's still out there battling the will of a champion. But I'm excited about it. So I've got a couple of fun things that I want to talk about regarding like these two teams and like what it kind of means if one of them wins one. I did a little homework this morning. So we're going to get into that in a second. But did this change anybody's takes? Like the fact that it's 1-1, were we just like, oh my God, I had Denver in 6 and now I think it's Miami's series. I did think it was funny. The like NBA Twitter and NBA media, and I tweeted something about this yesterday, was just in shambles, right? After Denver won, everyone was like, this is the greatest mismatch in basketball history, nay, sports history. The Denver Nuggets are going to decimate and destroy the state of Florida and the Miami Heat. And then after game 2, everybody was like, casuals. You're a bunch of casuals. When are we going to put some respect on Miami's name? We have to take them seriously. They beat the Bucks. They beat the Knicks. They beat the Celtics. They are a real basketball team that need to be taken seriously. So everybody just chill out. Just chill out. We get a good final series, all right? It doesn't have to be, it's either like we're hard as a rock or soft as PPE, right? There's like no in between here. They can just, sometimes series go more than 4 games, right? Oh, God. Yeah, Veronica says the real question is, where's Jimmy? Jimmy's going to be hurt, right? It kind of, I don't know if you guys saw this. This is kind of going off the rails a little bit, but some news broke. I think this is while I was on the hashtag vacay, but Julius Randle is going to, I think they scoped out his knee or his ankle. I don't forget what the injury was, but basically we all learned, wow, we were Knicks fans too. Knicks fans, you bing bong psychos who were ripping down posters of Randle everywhere you went. Turns out he was playing like very hurt, needed surgery immediately. And I do wonder if we're going to learn that Jimmy was a little bit more dinged up than we realized. But who knows? I mean, it could be just tired. Who knows? Boston Base with a super chat. He says Nuggets locker room needs a visit from Wick. Yeah. Yeah, you guys want to drop? We'll give you a little. I can never find that one. That is like a tricky one. So some of these are there. It is.
Regular season Randall.
Look at this slander right here. Also, look at what like on book updated his little avatar, Kendall Roy. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. But yeah, anyways, I don't know. I'm excited for game 3. I think I said Nuggets in, I don't know if I said Nuggets in 5 or 6, but I still think it goes that distance. We're going for distance. We're going for speed. All right, let's get into some of the fun stuff. Stan, one more thing. Says Jimmy has home court advantage in the finals and took over in the 4th. He's fine. No, Stan, come on, Stan. Seriously, get off your heat boner for a second. I don't like you can't be just be unbiased here for a second. Jimmy definitely doesn't look like Jimmy against the Bucks or even Jimmy against the Knicks, right? Ever since he turned that ankle, he's definitely been a little bit slower. If anything, the rest of your team is cooking, you know? That's not even heat slander. It's not even Jimmy Butler. I think he's hurt. I think he's definitely slowed down a little bit. All right. I wanted to do a couple of things. So there was one I'm going to sprinkle in a little heat talk. Actually, we're going to talk with Jimmy Butler. We're going to talk Nikola Jokic. I read a fun article on The Athletic, too, about some offseason stuff. I want to talk about that as well. But let's start. I wanted to start with Jimmy Butler. So I was looking at the 2011 draft when Jimmy was drafted. Jimmy was drafted 30th overall, right? And I kind of wanted to go through some of the picks that happened in the first round and kind of see where Jimmy would land if we redrafted 2011 today. So I was looking at it and I totally forgot like who was in this draft. I really did. So Kyrie went first overall. He had Kyrie. Then you had Derek Williams, Derek Williams was like one of my favorite ballers in college, right, from Arizona. I also thought if you had to guess how many years Derek Williams played, for those that don't remember Derek Williams before his time, actually, that's not true. He should have been. He was like a stretch 4, stretch 5, right? He could shoot, could dominate down low, and then didn't do it. Played 7 years. Derek Williams played 7 years. Would not have guessed that. Would have guessed like 2 or 3. Third pick overall. Anybody can tell me who's the third pick overall in the 2011 NBA draft? This is how wild it is, like going back looking at some of this. I'll give you a hint. He had a name change. The third overall pick had a name change. Waiting for the chat to catch up. Who's it going to be? Can anybody? All right. Al Apis says Evan Turner. That's wrong. Who can tell me? Meta was, nope, not Meta. Enes Freedom. There it is. Recruiting G84. Enes Freedom. Enes Kanter Freedom was the third overall pick in that draft. Then it went Tristan Thompson, also in the Western Conference Finals. Number 5 overall, Jonas Valanciunas. Then you got Jan Vesely. I don't know who that man is. And the Wizards picked him, so that makes sense. Bismack Biyombo, 7th overall. I didn't realize he was a top 10 pick. Brandon Knight, Kemba Walker, Jimmer Fredette. So those are your top 10. I forgot Jimmer Fredette went 10th. Then you had Klay Thompson, solid pick, 11th overall. Alec Burks went 12. And then back-to-back picks, which I think is a beautiful story. Markieff Morris, followed by Marcus Morris. And then in the 15th overall pick, which I don't know, would he be the number 1 overall pick if this draft happened today? Like ahead of Kyrie? Kawhi Leonard, the Claw went 15th. Then Nikola Vucevic, 16th overall. Iman Shumpert, which, fun fact, Iman Shumpert's wife is in White Man Can't Jump, and she does a great job. All right, so then you get Iman Shumpert, and then Chris Singleton. Never forget Chris Singleton, Florida State's finest. Tobias Harris went 19th. Charlotte drafted Tobias Harris. I did not know that. Donatas Matayonis with 20th. He played 6 seasons. Okay. Nolan Smith out of Duke. Shout out Nolan Smith. Then the Manimal went 22nd, Kenneth Faried. Then Nikola, I got knocked the F out by Bobby Portis Mirotic, went 23rd. Reggie Jackson, Boston College's finest kid. He went 24th. Marshawn Brooks. Never forget Marshawn Brooks. He was a bucket out of Providence. Jordan Hamilton went 26th. Jawan Johnson went 27th. There you go, Veronica. You called it. Norris Cole out of Cleveland State. He went 28th. Corey Joseph, 29th. The last pick in that draft, Jimmy Buckets. All right. And then the second round standouts, Bojan Bogdanovic, first pick in the second round. Chandler Parsons went 38th in the second round. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anybody else. That was a ball call. Each one more, 55th pick by the Boston Celtics. And then Isaiah Thomas, the last pick of the draft by the Kangs. All right. So if we had to do this again, so the ones that stood out to me, right? So obviously Jimmy Butler, Kawhi, Kyrie, Klay Thompson. Who are you taking first overall there? Who are you taking first overall? Is it Jimmer Fredette? Here's why. Who are you taking first overall? Is it still Kyrie? Is it Kawhi? Is it Jimmy Butler? To me, those are the top three. I don't really know what the order is. Snoopaloop was asking, who did you take? Snoop? Who did the Bucks take? Jimma. Who's got the keys to my bimma? Yeah. Imagine Jimmy playing with the big three. I know. But who are you taking first overall? Is it Kawhi? Because I think there's an argument for all of them, right? It's Kawhi's probably one. Kawhi is probably one. And then I don't know. Is it Jimmy? Are you taking I think Kawhi is one. Kawhi is one. Who's two? Who's three? Are you taking Jimmy over Kyrie? Probably, right? Is it Kawhi, Jimmy, Kyrie? Is that the order? And then the Morris Bros, 4 and 5. I don't know. I think that's what I would do. I think I would take Kawhi number 1, Jimmy number 2, Kyrie number 3. The Bucks took Tobias Harris, says Al Apis. Maybe that was a draft day trade because I got Tobias going to Charlotte, but maybe Milwaukee. I'm looking at Basketball Reference, so maybe that's why. We the people saying Claw, Kyrie, Jimmy. The Zavala Ball says Kyrie produced better, much better. Oh, much better earlier. Yeah, I know it's kind of tough, right? It's recency bias too. Like I would take Kawhi, then I would take playoff Jimmy, right? But man, the last 4 years of Jimmy have like really redefined how we approach his legacy, right? I mean, the Miami run, again, I've already outlined this, right? But without this Miami run, we look at Jimmy very differently, but it's huge. Anyways, yeah, I think I go with Kawhi, Jimmy, Kyrie. I think that's how the redraft of 2011. Speaking of Kyrie, man, gotta love it, dude. So Kyrie, who, famously is out on how the media aggregates different basketball stories, why we talk about stuff that we shouldn't be talking about. And then he comes out and is like, yeah, man, I talked to LeBron. I think we're bringing LeBron to Dallas, right? Who says no? Kyrie is wild. I can't get over it. And I joked on Twitter. Do you think he's just trying to get people to forget about some of the other crazy shit that he did? Like, the only way to get people to stop talking about some of the crazy shit that you did is to up the stakes in the crazy. It reminds me of that I Think You Should Leave sketch where the guy was like, stop me if I talk about my kids again. And then Tim Robinson is like, okay. And then has to continue to do crazy things so that we can like forget about the guy to stop the guy about talking about his kids. I feel like that is what Kyrie is doing. It's like, if I could just while out a little bit more, I'll go to courtside games when the Lakers are playing in the Western Conference Finals. And that means everyone's like, "Ooh, Kyrie going to the Lakers, baby." Instead, Kyrie's like, "Hey, what if we just bring LeBron over? LeBron would fit great with me and Luka." Which is nuts because the Mavericks have nothing to offer the Lakers. Right? They have that one first round pick this year. They've got that one first round pick. How are you going to make that deal work? And why would the Lakers ever agree to do that? Even if LeBron was like, get me out. Is it Dallas? Dallas is the landing spot? I don't think so. That was wild. That was like peak Kyrie. Yeah, Maxi Kleber for LeBron, straight up. Who says no? Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving. All right. The other thing I want to do. So there you go. That was some Jimmy Butler love that he was picked 30th and he's on the precipice of an NBA chip 1-1. And that's what's been so fun about this finals that everybody has talked about. It's like, holy crap, either Jimmy Butler, an incredible story, is going to get a ring, or Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets getting their first ever ring. So we all famously know, what was it? Nikola Jokic selected during a Taco Bell commercial in the second round. So what I wanted to do, I went and looked, and I'll shut up Bleacher Report, Sportac, a couple of different articles that I was looking at to try to find who were some of the best second round picks of all time. And then I went a step further, and I was trying to find, has there ever been an NBA champion, a team to win the NBA Finals, with their best player being a second round draft pick? And I only found one, and maybe I missed some because I'm not, come on. I'm not an encyclopedia. I'm not no dunks. You know what I'm saying? I'm not full sicko mode. But I had fun looking this up. So, and I'm curious what the chat thinks, but these are, I think I found like 12 or 13 of like the best second round draft picks. And I'm going to leave one name off. Because there is one that I found. And then we'll talk about it. So again, the Bleacher Report, Sportac, a couple of other different spots. So these second round stars. Again, this is shouting out Jokic since he was a second round pick. Doc Rivers. I didn't know Doc Rivers was a second round pick. He balled. Doc Rivers balled. We got Paul Millsap. On some fun playoff teams, right? The Atlanta Hawks, who were like one of the best regular season teams, and then got smoked in the playoffs. You also saw Paul Millsap had some fun runs at Utah. He had some fun runs with Denver, which didn't really pan out in the way that they thought it was going to. But again, solid career for a second year. Shout out the 89 Cavs, Mark Price. He was a second round pick. Mark Price was a baller. All right. We've got Mo Cheeks, another Sixers guard. You had Mo Cheeks and Doc Rivers so far. Oh, no. Doc was on the Sixers, right? Or am I wilding? Maybe Atlanta. I know he's on Atlanta. I can't remember now. Tony Kukoc. So this is one of our better winners. Tony Kukoc, right? Sixth man for the Chicago Bulls. But never the best player, right? Never the best player on his team, obviously. But was a baller. Tony Kukoc was a baller. I'm going to skip this next one. Jeff Hornacek. NBA Top Shot, dude. NBA Top Shot. Jeff Hornacek, right? All-star game. He was a baller for the Jazz, for the Phoenix Suns. Good shooter, second round pick. Looks like a tax accountant. Who else we got here? So that was we got Marc Gasol. So Marc Gasol won a chip. Obviously not the best player on that team, but a good, solid year, solid career. We got Manu Ginobili, obviously part of the San Antonio Spurs dynasty, late second round pick. Again, phenomenal six man. Obviously would have started on teams if they wanted, just didn't do it. They just didn't need to start him. But he was never the best player, right? Never the best player on the team. But anyways, Manu Ginobili. Chris Middleton got a chip. I forgot he was a second round pick. Chris Middleton he's still balling here, but he doesn't fit. Dennis Rodman also on this list. And then the one that stood out the most, the one that was the closest until I found the one that actually doesn't, Draymond Green. So Draymond Green, second round pick, part of another dynasty. I mean, I guess you could kind of compare Draymond's role to Manu Ginobili's role. I mean, I know Manu came off the bench, but like the third rung in the big three, right? So Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, okay? And then Steph, Clay, Draymond. You could argue at times Draymond more important than Clay, whatever. But clearly, like the Manu Spurs don't happen without Tim Duncan, just like the Draymond Warriors runs don't happen without Steph Curry. So no one's saying those are the best players on their team. And if they are, they're high. But those are the ones that stood out the most of like really successful championship caliber second year runs. So if Jokic wins the NBA Finals, he is going to be, again, according to my research, if Nikola Jokic wins the NBA Finals with the Denver Nuggets, he is going to be the second ever, right? The second ever, like, second round led champion. Can anybody tell me who the first one was? Can anybody do it? I'll wait. I'll let the chat get a couple guesses. I only found one. Top 75 guy of all time. I'll give you a little bit of a hint. Bing bong. Can anybody hit me with it? Not Isaiah Thomas. Come on, chit chat. Come on, chit chat. Famous Bing Bong boy. Come on. Somebody, Aaron Boylan says John Starks. They didn't win a chip. Willis Reed. Willis Reed was taken in the second round. The famous Willis Reed game, right? Comes back. He Paul Pierce before Paul Pierce was a Paul Piercer. Best player on that team. I believe he's considered the best player on that team. Willis Reed. I know like Walt Frazier was on that team, Earl Monroe, but Willis Reed was their best player. Willis Reed. Eddie Curry. Jesus Christ, guys. Willis Reed. So I don't know. I thought that was a pretty cool stat or a pretty cool tidbit, considering that this Denver Nuggets team is clearly led by a second round best player. But who knows? So either Jimmy Butler is going to I think Jimmy Butler's already making the Hall of Fame, so whatever. But either Jimmy Butler gets a ring, or maybe this is the beginning of the Denver Nuggets dynasty. Who knows? Who knows? Wait, is that real? No. Second. Oh, well, you know what? Still a second round pick. God damn it. Oh, hold on. Oh, man. Boo. Boo. Hold on. That's so funny. Oh, let's see. Let's look at this draft. This is hilarious. This is what happens, okay? First day back from vacation. We're in shambles. We're in shambles this morning. We're in shambles. I was so excited, guys. I was so excited. I thought that was a fun thing to look up this morning. And you know what's so funny? What's so great is I didn't find any that fit the criteria. And then I did one more search, and Willis Reed popped up. And it just said second round, second. I thought it was second round, like the 8th pick in the second round. Yeah, technically I'm still right, but that's garbage. That's garbage. Oh man. Yeah, still true technically. Well, listen, that makes the Jokic championship even better. That makes the Jokic championship even better if it happens. Wow. Embarrassing. I guess it wasn't embarrassing. Man. This is why Top Shot doesn't want you doing streams. How could you? Hey, dude, Top Shot. You see Top Shot doing content again? They were doing halftime shows, huh? Look at them doing halftime shows, doing some content. Even made a thumbnail for the second one, I believe. Good for them. I'm glad they're doing some stuff. I was going to say they don't want me doing streams, but they don't want anybody doing streams anymore. Good stuff. Oh, really? He was the 10th pick because there were 2 territorial picks. Ooh, we love a territorial pick. This is why basketball didn't really start until I was born, right? I think we can all agree upon that. Basketball didn't start until I was born. DJ Sneap's halftime. Yeah, DJ Sneap's been grinding the playback. It's been good to see. We love that. You can do more. People need to be checking that out. Marc Gasol and Draymond were second rounders and could be considered leaders in a way. Yeah, I mean, again, they could be considered leaders, not the best player on a championship team, though, right? And that's not to disparage them at all. And Marc Gasol didn't get his until he was with Toronto. And I mean, yeah, he was an important cog in that machine, but you had Kyle Lowry, Kawhi Leonard. So there you go. All right. What was the other thing I wanted to talk about? Oh, yeah, there was a fun piece on The Athletic. Actually, let me remind the people to like the stream, subscribe, hashtag culture. There was a fun piece on The Athletic that I was poking around at today about teams primed for a big time trade. And I want to make sure I shout out who were the authors of this article. It was a good one. I believe Fred Katz was involved. Who else? Fred Katz, James L. Edwards III, and Mike Vorkunov. So they put together a piece that was just like they did a draft saying like who were the best ones. Who are the best ones? Wait, hold. Al says Ben Wallace was more important to the Pistons title than Gasol or Draymond. Okay. Either way, though, like you guys can litigate that in the chat. Neither of those fit the criteria of what I'm talking about, and I'm in charge. But yeah, they did a fun thing, and all I want to do, I'm not going to go over the draft of like who was the most important, but what I wanted to show was just like how there was a couple of things that stood out. And so the first pick that they did was the Oklahoma City Thunder. And obviously they listed SGA as untradeable. And, like OKC, they have Jalen Williams, who looked like a superstar the second half of the year for them. Josh Giddey, who took a leap in his second year. You still got the Doherty, Reporty. But what I thought was wild, they can trade. The Oklahoma City Thunder can trade up to 12 first-round picks, with 5 of them being unprotected, right? So this year, they have the number 12 pick in the draft. They've got their own pick in 2024. In 2024, they have a top 4 protected pick from Houston. And like, I know Houston this year, they're talking about getting James Harden back, rumored to be in the Jaylen Brown trade sweepstakes. If that's a thing that happens, they have their pick. So assuming they don't tank, they'll have a top 4 pick from Houston. I mean, not a top 4 protected pick from Houston. They got a top 10 protected pick from Utah next year. They've got an unprotected Clippers pick next year, still from the SGA trade with Paul George way back when. And who knows what the Clippers situation is going to be. And in 2025, they've got pick swaps with Houston and the Clippers. They got a top 14 pick from Miami, a top 6 protected pick from Philadelphia in 2025. They got another pick from Houston in 2026. They got another unprotected Clippers pick in 2026. They got a top 5 protected pick from the Nuggets, and then their own picks in 28, 29, 30. But 12 first-round picks with 5 unprotected is crazy, just absolutely crazy. People want the Dort Report drop. We'll give you that. We'll give you a little Dort Report. And I don't know what OKC is going to do. I mean, like, they definitely are primed. I don't know if they're going to make their move this year, if they're going to wait till next year, because I kind of like them just continuing to build, right? With having the 12th overall pick, they're getting Chet Holmgren back, which almost feels like you're adding another draft pick in, right? Because they're starting 5 having SGA, Giddey, Dort, Chet, and then filling in that last, and Jalen Williams. I mean, that's going to be a fun team. I feel like you got to get a little bit more depth in the front court, right? Just because you don't really know what you have with Chet yet. So I don't know. I'm really excited for what OKC can be like. Obviously, they played really good basketball last year, finishing in, what was it, the ninth seed, making the play-in game, winning that first game, and then losing the second game, I believe, right? Didn't they lose to the Timberwolves? Yeah. So I'm really excited. The West is just going to be so crazy next year. And then with the salary cap stuff, it's going to be all weird. But anyway, so OKC was a fun one. The Magic stood out too. So the Magic, they have 2 picks this year, right? So they have the number 6, they have the number 11. They have and then a bunch of just they've got Denver's pick in 2026, and then all of their first round picks still. But they also have this weird situation with Markelle Fultz and Cole Anthony. They just have a lot of young pieces, obviously Paolo and Franz. So I'll be curious to see what they do with 6 and 11 this year. Do they just take 2 draft picks? They also have cap rooms, so they can sign someone. They got the Florida no state tax. I think that's pretty fun. Who is the next one? The Portland Trail. Dude, I don't know what Portland is going to do. I really don't. Dame continues to say he doesn't want to be traded. I don't think Portland wants to trade him if he doesn't want to be traded, right? How does that reward loyalty to your franchise? He's like, I don't want to be traded, and then they move him. but I don't know what they do. So the third overall pick, you got Dame, Sharp, Simons, Nurk, Grant. I don't know. Like, do they trade some of those assets to get better now with Dame, or do they trade Dame to try to make their squad like to actually rebuild this team and get the value from Dame? I don't really know. I know Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo talked about it a little bit, and they couldn't really find a spot for Dame that made sense. Obviously, the Jaylen Brown stuff has been talked about with Dame. I don't really think that's a thing that will ever happen. But they had mentioned Minnesota later in the podcast. Like, they couldn't find a spot, and then they were talking about Minnesota later. And then they mentioned like towns for Dame. But yeah, I don't know what Portland's going to do. I feel like they are in such a weird spot. I don't know. I mean, it feels like it makes sense to move off of Dame, but I don't think they will. So that means, yeah, I don't know. Houston was also listed, right? So they've got their pick. They got the Clippers pick next this year. So they got 2 first rounds, 4 and 20. What's crazy about Houston that I feel like we keep forgetting about, that Brooklyn stuff, right? So the Brooklyn deals with when they moved off Harden, when Harden went to Brooklyn, everybody was giving him shit for not like getting Ben Simmons back in this deal somehow. Because they had mentioned Harden potentially going to Philly. This is before he went to Brooklyn. Listen to some of these picks that they have, right? So Houston has, like I said, the 4th pick this season and the 20th pick this year from the Clippers. Next year, unprotected 2024 Brooklyn pick. So when we were talking about like, oh, do they move off Mikal Bridges? Do they move off of Cam Johnson? Like, what do? They have no incentive to tank because they have an unprotected first-round pick from Brooklyn. Is crazy. And then in 2025, they have a pick swap with Brooklyn. In 2026, they have an unprotected pick from Brooklyn. In 2027, they have another pick swap with Brooklyn. So basically, they're getting Brooklyn's pick for the next 4 years. Or 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027. Like, holy shit. Brooklyn is screwed. This is like the Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Paul Pierce situation again, right? Pierce and Garnett go to Brooklyn. They get all these unprotected picks. Brooklyn flames out pretty much right away. Brook Lopez and D'Angelo Russell trying to save their first-round picks. So, like, even if Houston, because I know Houston doesn't have an incentive to lose this year because they don't have their first-round pick. They're trying to get some veteran leadership in there. Ime Udoka is there, and all of the Boston Celtics assistant coaches of all time are back in there. But even if they don't get that much better, I mean, those Brooklyn picks are just going to be straight cash, homie. Like, I don't know who is, like, I don't know who Brooklyn is targeting unless Brooklyn's just trying to overpay guys that aren't that great. And it's not like they can make a deal to get better that much faster because they don't really have any assets to trade. Like, they don't have draft pick assets to trade because they all are going to Houston. So you kind of have to hold on to Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Spencer Dinwiddie, hope to overpay some other like middling free agents, and then just hope you finish top 8, right? Weird spot to be in for Brooklyn. The Kyrie Irving effect strikes again. Craziness. All right. Was there any other teams that I wanted to hit on? Those are the ones that stood out the most to me. So the Nets, actually, let's do the Nets real quick. These are their assets coming up, since I didn't realize this was listed here. So they have Phoenix's first round pick. So this year they're picking 21st and 22nd. 2025, they have an unprotected from Phoenix. 2026. So I guess they do have those Phoenix unprotecteds and the Dallases that they got back, but I don't know. Shiggins is talking about LeBron to Dallas. We talked about that already. That's not happening. There's no way that happens. Anyways, that was fun. I wanted to talk about that. The only other thing is the Ja Morant stuff. Like, Adam Silver, what's up, man? What's up? You know, like, even if, and I know everyone's already made this take already, I just haven't been live in a while. Even if Adam Silver found more stuff, and that's really damning to Ja Morant, and I don't doubt that suspension's coming. It sounds like it's going to be pretty hefty. And I imagine they found more stuff, because I don't know why you would weigh in on it when you weighed in on it if you didn't find more stuff versus just like that Instagram that we all talked about 3 weeks ago, right? So The Ja Morant stuff happens. Everybody talks about it for a week. And then it kind of fades away. We know it's a story we're going to get to, but it fades away. And the NBA Finals start. Everybody's talking about the NBA Finals. Nobody is talking about Ja Morant. They're talking about the NBA Finals. They're talking about the Boston Celtics blowing it up or whatever they're going to do. And they're talking about the Lakers because legally ESPN and the national sports media are obligated to talk about the Lakers. And then Adam Silver comes on, basically unprompted. And is like, I don't want to distract by the NBA Finals by talking about Ja Morant. So we're not going to talk about Ja Morant, although we're talking about Ja Morant right now. But in a couple weeks, when the finals is over, because again, God forbid, I do not want to distract from the NBA Finals. Then I'll tell you about all of the messed up stuff I saw, and it's going to be bad. Like, what was that? What was that? It's almost like they did want everybody talking about Ja Morant. I don't understand the thought process about that. Like, the only thing, and this is like bullshit, I don't think this is a real thing, but the only thing that I could think of is that someone was in Adam Silver's ear and was like, hey, man, people are calling you a pussy. They think you're soft. They think you're soft on players. They think you're soft on discipline. Ja clowned you, right? You had that meeting with Ja. You spent 8 hours or however much they touted talking to him in New York right after his 4-day rehab, which always works. That's exactly what rehab is. It's only a couple of days. You got him to talk to Jalen Rose for a little bit. He's like, yeah, dude, I'm never going to do this again. And then he did it again. And then what? So you just got walked all over by Ja, dude? You got to make a statement. Because there's no world in which you said, like, hey, I don't want to be a distraction, but BT Dubs, I'm tough, right? Like, that's it. That's it. Wasn't it some of the State of the League press conference? Yeah. But so, like, are you kidding me? Why can't you don't have the ability to talk around that in a way that's like, yeah, we'll get to that in the offseason, you know? Like right now, like, obviously, we take what's happening. This is what I would have done. Obviously, we take what's happening with all of our players very seriously. It was disappointing to see what happened. We're going to be looking into it more. And then I imagine once we conclude our investigation, we'll report back when the time is right on Ja Morant. Not like, hey, guys, my balls are actually bigger than you think. A lot of you have been talking about Adam Silver. He refers to him in the third person. A lot of you have been talking about how small my testicles are, but I would like to take this time to talk to the NBA media and the NBA fans around the world that my balls are actually bigger. And I will not be walked on because my balls are too big to be walked on. So don't you worry. Once you're done talking about this little finals game, Big Ball Silver will come out and let you know. It was just so weird. So weird. And it just felt, it reminded me, honestly, that was a page out of LeBron's book. That's what that felt like, right? That was like a real media move where it's like, hey, you guys might not be talking about me too much, so might retire. So dumb. Yeah, that's the only thing. Yeah, maybe they're worried about it leaking. But even if they're worried about it leaking, that means they're not reporting on it. Like, it still could leak. I don't know. Weisberg was talking about, I didn't listen to the whole Steve Kerr thing. I did see that he was going pretty hard at the young guys. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So Kerr was on Draymond's pod. Great. Hashtag new media. Love to see it. And they were talking about it. Yeah, I mean but that's the same as like what Kerr did when he went on the radio too. And I know you had mentioned that before. Went pretty hard at Kuminga. I don't know what the Warriors are going to do, man. Based on the language Kerr has used, it does feel like they're coming back. It does feel like they're all coming, or like the veterans are all coming back. So I don't know. I'll be curious to see how much Joe Lacob is willing to pay in the tax, or how many draft picks they're willing to forfeit by going way over. But they're clearly going to be in a real tough situation. And you're seeing all these teams around them, like they're now going to be competing with the Denvers of the world. I imagine the Lakers come back a little bit better. Minnesota's probably going to be better. You're going to have OKC is going to be a lot better. Who knows what's going to happen with Memphis, the Kangs? Like, who knows? Who knows? Did you hear news that Wemby won't play at Summer League? Yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned that last week or 2 weeks ago that he most likely won't. I think he did say he was going to play, or maybe that was Chet. Now that I'm confusing it, because they have a couple games before in California, right? Is it California or Utah? I can't remember, but a couple games that happened before. But like, I don't know. This happens sometimes where certain players are such surefire things that they just don't want to even risk him getting hurt at all and just have him ready for the regular season. So I don't know. It'll be something to pay attention to. I mean, obviously would love to have Wemby back playing in Summer League while we're there. But you know what, though? That's a great pivot. Let's talk some Summer League. Let me change my background here. Let's go up here like that. Ooh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's remove that. Ooh, that's fun. And then da-na-na. All right, so guys, month away. We're going to be in Summer League in 1 month. I'm actually going to be there July 5th. What's up, bitches? But the NBA Summer League, we're staying at Park MGM, but you can stay wherever you want. You find a good deal. That's just where my home base is. You just need to get out there, okay? We have a live show that's going to be at the Sand Dollar Lounge. Sand Dollar Lounge, which is actually like downtown Vegas. So most people just stay right on the strip. We're going to go for the show on Friday, down near like where the Golden Nugget, like Old Vegas. So we're going to be doing it there. It's going to be 5 to 7. We get some fun guests planned. We've got some members from, obviously, Greg and Dustin will be there. Some Shot Tank Bros will be there. The 89 Cavs will be there. We're going to have a ton of fun with this. So please come on out. Come on out. So Park MGM, that's where we're staying, getting there Thursday. We'll be going to some Summer League games early on Friday, then making our way over to the Sand Dollar Lounge for the live show from 5 to 7. We got that a little bit earlier so that we're not competing with nightlife of Vegas. Then we'll go out. We'll have a happy hour on Saturday. We'll be going over to the beer park earlier in the day. That's part of Paris. We'll be making our way over to the NBA convention on Saturday as well. Some people are going to be going to UFC 290. UFC X is happening. We get so much stuff going on. So we're really excited about this. This is our 3rd year doing it too. 3rd year running, baby. But yeah, let us know if you guys are coming down. I know some people, we have a Discord channel in there for Vegas. So it's going to be, listen, guys, I'm really stoked. We hope a bunch of you are out there. Well, that looks weird now. Let's keep it like this. But yeah, we're going to be fun. We're going to be fun. A lot of friends are coming out, and we hope you guys are. If you're on the fence, actually, flights weren't too bad. I know I'm coming from New York, so I have a couple more options, but flights weren't too ridiculous, and the hotels weren't too bad. Saturday night's the only one that's a banger. Saturday night's pretty expensive, but if you any other night, it's not too bad. It makes it work. So, anyways, we hope to have you guys come out again. This is the 3rd time we're doing it. We're really excited to be out there. It's a fun little tradition for us. So. Yeah, if you have any questions about it, let us know. We're pumped. All right, let me go back over to, let's switch that back up. Let's do this. That's the Athletic article. That's not what I want to show you. There you go. Like the stream, subscribe. Culture. Let me catch up on the chat. Wasn't really looking at it. What do you guys have for me? It's in Sacramento. There you go. That's the California Classic. There we go. I don't know. Anything else? Is that it? Are we calling it there? 48 minutes of fury this morning. Good to be back. Top Shot did some leaderboard stuff. That seems to be going really well. There's always going to be some people that complain about it. I know a couple people got screwed there towards the end because once again, as the burning clock down timer was coming to a close, it slowed down. A lot of people were firing in some stuff. It didn't go through or whatever. So you got burned by that. I know that sucks. That's a product thing, but hopefully that gets tweaked as we get closer. But it seems like the leaderboard stuff is solid. Seems like people are enjoying it. I know they did some packs at halftime. I thought the packs at halftime were dope. I know they did it for game 1 and then game 2 had crapped out a little bit, so they weren't able to do it. I think that's great. I'm still not buying anything. That doesn't change anything for me, but I think it's cool. How about the 3D moments in the okay, guys? I like the Google, Apple glasses, whatever the fuck VR thing came out. This is probably a boomer take. And people are like, yeah, but do you remember when the internet or iPhone, when iPhone came out, everybody's like, oh, $6,000 for an iPhone. And then 5 years later, everybody and their mother has an iPhone. Maybe it's the same thing. What about Google Glass? What about, so for every example of the iPhone, there's probably 35 examples of Google Glass. And maybe that's just me being a hater, but I could give a fuck about it. And I love that. I like clockwork, like clockwork. People see that VR, like, oh my God, you put these goggles on and you can see boobs in front of you. And then everybody else was like, oh, you think about boobs. You ever think about Top Shot moments, though? Think about what Top Shot moments. Look, that's the future of fandom. If you could just put some goggles on, then you can see the players right in front of your face. That makes an NFT, a digital collectible that much more collectible because now you have goggles in front of them. Like, incredible that people did it right away. And then, of course, Rohab's like, oh, dude, here we go. Let's look at this. It's in my backyard, right? Like, everybody lost their mind. Whatever, dude. I just thought it was hilarious. Yeah, that's the other thing. What about every other VR set? I know. I just thought it was so corny. The judge dropped. Apparently, he's thrown his own party at his house because he's moving to Vegas. There you go. Live Vegas. As long as it doesn't compete with our live show. Maybe we get Judge on the live show. Yeah, there we go. We already have infinite objects. That's right, dude. That's right. If they can put boobs on my moments, then maybe I judge too early. That's true. What if they did add boobs to Top Shot moments? Guys, listen, like Drew Austin said, like all of the visionaries in this space have said, it's only the first inning. All right? It is only the first inning. And to be clear, that's not me fudding Top Shot. That's me fudding you monsters. Also, I saw an incredible thread about FUD. One other thing that I wanted to do before we got out of here, before we spin the giveaway, our guy, Top Shot Yoda. You guys know our friend Top Shot Yoda. He's been in the chat. He's been a part of the community for a long time. He shared a GoFundMe. And obviously, no one has to do anything. You don't have to do whatever you don't want. But if you are so inclined, Yoda's been in the Team Hold streets for a while. He's been in the Top Shot streets for a while. I find him to be a fun follow. He's usually pretty measured with a lot of his takes. He's way more positive than I am just in general. But he shared a thread here. His daughter, Addie, has defied the odds, and we are thankful daily for their progress as she grows. Her needs to have included therapies and equipment critical to her care that are not covered by my family's created GoFundMe in order to help her. I encourage you guys to just read the GoFundMe. I'm going to share it into the chat right now. Again, if this is something, if you are able to contribute or to share or donate or whatever. Of course, my Wi-Fi goes down when we're doing something important here. They've already raised a considerable amount of money, which is very exciting to see. We love to see the community rallying around our people. They raised $25,000. It's incredible stuff. But if you have a little extra or want to donate a Top Shot, I don't know what you could do. But go ahead, take a look at that. Shout out our guy. Shout out our guy, Top Shot Yoda. There you go. Andre said, saw his tweet as well. Be making a donation. He's a real one. Yeah, we love our guy, Yoda. So if that's something that you can contribute to, or honestly, even just share, even if you just share it on your Twitter or your Top Shot burner Twitter account, it's been cool to see a community rally around one of the good ones. So if that's something that you can contribute to, give it a shot. Give it a look. Give it a share. All the stuff. So shout out our man, Top Shot Yoda. Okay, let's I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else. We'll save our underdog stuff for tomorrow so that I have something to talk about tomorrow. But I missed you. It's good to be back. It's good to be in the content streets again. Stay tuned for some exciting stuff. Seriously, let's get Vegas going. I'm ready for Las Vegas. All right, I'm ready. Flight is booked. Actually, that's not true. Only one of the flights are booked. I know I'm going out there. I don't know if I'm coming home yet, All right, here we go. We'll be back tomorrow morning unless some other chaos happens. If you win this thing, shoot me a DM at Mike Zakarian. Also, if you won something on Thursday, like Doc Delta and Boston Base are still waiting for something. So you should get that today. Homies in the chat. Homies, Spumoni. We love to see it. I hope everybody has a great day. I was going to say happy Monday, but bitch, it is Tuesday. We will see you tomorrow.